Oh, what's good with y'all? I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm gonna be so real. It's been pretty hard on trying to find a new spot to record. You know what I'm saying? And that's the main, well, I won't say main reason, but like, that's like the level base of the reasons why, like, I tell myself I'm gonna upload or double upload or like I'm gonna upload in general and not do it. Or probably do it in like a bad ass time. Um, just to say, um, really and truly, I feel like I don't know, minus like the console shit. I just been doing bullshit. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was streaming yesterday, and then I was doing so good, and all of a sudden, I just decided to troll. Like I don't know what's up with me with trolling on purpose, but it's like, why do I troll on purpose? I don't know why. Like, I don't know, but that's just an excuse of everything else. But I'm here for a reason. I want to talk about operators. I want to talk about operators as in like their gadgets, not their weapons or like their speed or whatnot. No. I want to talk about their abilities. Um, it's not hard to say, but it's simple enough. But don't you realize with every and any operator you use, they're good for a certain situation? It's like it's the debate with like who's better, Ace or Habana, you know? And then people would say, he's better or she's better or like just have their opinions on top of it. But really and truly, it also stands on who are you good at, who, not really who you're good at using at. That made no sense, but meaning like who's good in the moment, It's like Habana could work in so many ways, Ace as well, but not even trying to say that, well, she got more pellets and he has only three Ace charges. Well, that is a huge difference, yeah. But really and truly is like, depending on the situation, it's like, do you want to get hatch or do you want to get main breach? Do you want to get main breach over hatch or do you want to like use hatch for like cover and still get main breach? You have all these opinions and all these ideas on how to get breaches and hatches based on the operator, but that was an example. But the whole main topic is about, I generally think that not all operators are bad. And just to throw this in there, I was gonna make like a little clip, like clips here and there, using operators that I think that don't suck. They just suck in like how can we use them? And that's with any operator who comes out, even new operators, it's like we were excited to Ram comes out, but all of a sudden Ram is just like whatever you want to make her, whatever you want to put her as an example as. Like Ram is Ram, but when we really got used with her, what am I speaking, bro? Whatever. My hands smell like meat. But anyways, you would be like, how do we use this person, And then you use her like, okay, like you have the idea or like you have the narrative on how to use her. You know what I'm saying? So just to say like if that made kind of a bit sense, but all I'm saying is like every operator is good in their own little way and that's depending on how you use them. Like example, Sins. People say Sins suck. They say that you can't even use her in a like that was a hiccup. Like my hiccup was coming out, whatever. People say that you can use her in a way that, you can blind people or you could just use her to like, cover line of sight, all that goody goody stuff. But only in the end is like people still think she's bad. And then when you have scenarios like I don't know what team was it, it was a pro team that used Sins. I remember it was Clubhouse and it was church area. They did that fast plant with Sins. I forgot what team it was, but yeah, why am I thinking Team Secret? I'm wrong. No, it's not that team. But anyways, yeah, like that game alone showed that like okay, this person can be good in some type of way. You know what I'm saying? So it's like only in the end you wouldn't say that they're a bad player, but they're not really good in certain situations. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just trying to like strongly convince everyone that not all operators are bad. They're not bad. They're just bad at situations. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you wouldn't bring, I don't know, you wouldn't bring a buck to a Zofia fight. When I say that analogy, basically what I mean is like, you know, with Zofia, she has her concussions and her breaching rounds, but with Buck, he just has claymores in a buckshot. You know, it's like that makes no sense. Well, in my brain, it's just trying to demonstrate and like dissect the abilities used on certain operators. You know, it's like if you have all these, you know, rotations, and then you have line of sight, and then you also have like small things like castle, you wouldn't bring buck, you know, because even before, if you even get inside the building, you will have to destroy the castles, you know, and that's where Zofia comes in. And also that Zofia can also cover line of sight with her concussions, you know, she can concuss every single rotation or every head hole based off her ability, and just, you know, push through. With Buck, it's the bare minimum. It's just a buckshot and claymores and possibly flashes, you know? So like all in the end, you're like guarantee you're gonna push someone out of that with Buck, but versus with Zofia, it would be more better because now you would have concussions going off and you have breaches going back and forth just based off one person. You know what I'm saying? Just to make it, you know, more reasonable, if I should say. But yeah, I believe every operator is not bad. And then I can go the list on and on, and just talk about nitpicks about like how every operator is not bad. I get that. But half of the times, most of the times, and every time, certain operators are just picked based off pure like instinct. You know? It's like it's one thing from being AFK and then picking the worst operator, then have to play that operator. But then again, the instinct is like, what can I do with this operator, you know? And I believe that's where the good players rely on. You know, it's like it's not even about who I got, because let's just say, you know, people target ban like all the time, you know? And most of the time it's a good ban. It's like, okay, I see why Kai had to be banned here, and then, you know, you ban Kai the next following round, because not to say that Kai get a 4K, it was the fact that the Kai had good spots, you know? So that would be a good band there. But anyways, the whole point is like, a player who has a bad operator, the operator is not necessarily bad. I would say like the player is really just using the operator for what they're best known for, you know? And that's the bare minimum. That's with any operator, you know? It's like you wouldn't see anyone trying to like change Ash in a way, you know, like Ash is Ash, you know, even an AI know how to rush in and you get a kill, you know? So it's like it goes a long way. And then you have someone like Buck who's more strategic, you know, like you can buck anything you want, yes, but then again too, you have to be careful what you buck because you have a little bit of ammo, and on top of that, you're Buck. So you're gonna have like you're the backbone for a good push, you know? It's like if you need to clear upstairs, you're going downstairs and clearing certain spots and certain rotations so you can, you know, use Buck for what he's actually known for, you know? So it's like all in the end, I do believe not every operator is trash. It's just the fact that depending on who is using them, you know, and that might sound like it's the end, like the end of it in a way. Like okay, like there's nothing else to say about how all ops are not bad. You know what I'm saying? But let me explain. And now, when you go down the line with operators on saying that, well, certain operators are actually bad, you know, and you have your opinions, and then you can say, well, certain operators are really good, and you have your examples, and you go down the list. But for where I'm coming from, where I'm coming at, it's the Big Bang. Like when I say Big Bang, I mean like what does this all start from? Like where does the bad operators and the good operators really come from? And we all can possibly say, well, it's the players. It's like discern like you're not gonna give your bot teammate a power player. You wouldn't give your trash teammate a power player. You wouldn't give your best teammate a support player. You know, like Well, you should in a way. But anyways, that's just an example. But anyways, yeah. Where does this all come from? And this is where I believe it comes from, like the bad and good. It comes from usage. It comes from you don't see no one else using them, so they're trash. You know? And to even back myself up on this with weapons, pulse shotgun. People will look at pulse like, ew, pulse shotgun. I've never seen no one use that before, you know? So it's like you automatically think that the gun is trash because no one uses it. Not even saying that because it's a shotgun, because no one uses it, you know? It's usage. People call operators and weapons trash because the usage of it. No one seems to use it, and especially their favorite content creator or a pro player or even their closest friends. You know, it's like if no one uses it, it's trash. Like there's no if, ands, buts about it. If no one uses it, it's trash. And that's where we all get mixed up at. It's like sorry, that's where we all get mixed up at. It's like just because no one uses it doesn't mean that it's trash. You know what I mean? So it's like, how can you dictate if someone's good or not based off their weapon pick? You know, and that can go a long way. Trust me. Like if I see someone with a weird, like with the weird weapon pick, it goes a long way. But you would say, what's their play style? You know, like for example, Kaid. Kaid is known for his shotgun. He has one of the best shotguns. You know, but all of a sudden you see people use his K9, not K9. What is it called? No, K1A is visual. His AUG, yeah. Like you would see people use his AUG. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Like you're Kai. Why don't you have his shotgun? You know, and it goes a long way on based off the player's preference. You know, and like, and scopes go a long way, but that will drift me off topic. But just operators and weapons. So yeah, but it's like, if you're using this weapon, you're trash. You suck. Then all of a sudden they clutch up. You know, so it's like, it can just be for like preference or just how they just like playing a certain operator, and you can't even nudge on that particular person because you're not gonna break them on to not let them use what they want to use. You know what I'm saying? Like that's one thing. Like being like, oh, you can't use that on that player. He's better with this. Whoever said he was better with this certain weapon picked? You know what I'm saying? Like who said that I can't use this? Might as well just have one weapon layout for every operator because we can't use other weapons. You know what I'm saying? So that goes a long way on just saying that someone's trash based off their weapon pick. It doesn't make any sense. It's like they're good in their own little way, and trust me, if you give this a pro player this weapon, they're gonna use it. Cause don't get me wrong, like Maestro, Azami, Alibi, and I think it's somebody else. I may be mistaken, but those three operators' name, they have one of the best shotguns. The automatic shotguns. But you don't see no one using those shotguns. Why? They have their reasons, but the main reason is because the gun sucks. Like the gun's bad. And then let's just say they made the gun good, and now people gonna say, "Why do you make this trash gun good? Can you just nerf or buff the certain weapon that's a problem?" Like, it's like as a gamer, like you would want the devs to honestly like fix up their game in a way that you can make every weapon usable at least once. Every weapon usable, at least. But you would sit there and complain and moan about how they buff the worst gun ever, and not everyone is putting down the meta weapon and using the buff gun. It's like not saying the meta weapon lost its meta, but just the fact that they have another weapon that can possibly be good, and little behold, they buffed it, made it good. And now people drop this one weapon for the other weapon, and now it's being used more. you know so it's like, don't complain about how this gun is broken and then they buff the non-broken weapon. So now you got two broken weapons. I get that, but can't you just appreciate the fact that they buffed a weapon, you know? So like that goes a long way. And even buffing operators, like it goes a long way. Like what is wrong with Sins? You know? Just an example. What's wrong with Sins? Honestly, what's wrong with her? Don't even say the excuse of, well, no one can't use her. No one knows how to use her. She has a bad illustration, blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, like, whatever. Like, how would you genuinely use her? And it's going to take a quick minute for people to actually realize, okay, Cindy's not actually bad. It's just the situations we put ourselves in and how can she be good. I can give you something off the bat, off rip, why, in my opinion, I think Sin is good. For people who love to make obsessive, that was totally the wrong word I had in my head. Obsessive head holes. Like, if you're making so much head holes, believe me, a sin is coming across your screen not to blind you, but to blind the head holes that provide you to see from where I'm coming from, you know? And that goes a long way. A pre-fire could be lucky or whatnot, but it goes a long way on just putting a sense down and activating it and then using it to your ability to walk into sight being undetected and unseen, versus using smokes running through it and hoping that it's not fogging up the certain area you plan to see from and then you don't die, you know? And then minus counters and minus what like it does, but just the aspect of Sins rolling it down and able to play off that by itself, that goes a long way. That shows that hey, possibly this won't and can't be a bad play or a bad operator after all, So all in the end, you would try to make you would make the best shot ever. When I say shot, you would make the best play ever. Then all of a sudden, boom, bang, bop, you just fumbled. Like, why did you fumble? Because you would put the operator in a position that they're not best at, It's like, well, I thought she was good, so I used her. Yeah, dweeb, you used her in the wrong spot. You know what I'm saying? It's like you wouldn't put yourself in a predicament where that for a fact this wouldn't work, So it's like, just to prove your point on saying that people might be like, oh yeah, she's actually trash, versus people might say that she's actually okay or decent or even good. Yeah, I get that. But of course, obviously, in certain situations, you wouldn't use sins. You wouldn't use certain operators. You would use operators to benefit you, not to benefit the opposite. And it kind of goes to like a leeway about like, okay, I give you an excuse. It's like, okay, you couldn't see, or like, bad placement, or like whatever. But all in the end, you cannot escape the fact that not all operators are bad and not all of them are good. It's like, of course, if they're not bad, they're not good. If they're not good, they're bad. Yes, I know that. But you wouldn't call them bad automatically because you think that this person is trash. No, like it's I don't know how to I feel like I believe this is one of my best videos ever. I like talking about shit like this. Sorry, YouTube. Like stuff like this, like not really nitpicking, but I like to talk about like how can we change operators, or like just like the the algorithm, is that the right word to use? The like their player build. Like yeah, like their player build. Like I like this. So I don't know. Like the best bet scenario, you wouldn't really call someone bad. You would just call them like, I don't know. But you wouldn't call them anything negative, that's for sure. But you wouldn't call them like, okay, this guy's interesting. It's like, when is the last time you seen someone use Maverick's DMR? You know? It's like the DMR is not even bad. And like we can all vouch for that. The DMR is not even bad. It's just the fact that no one picks it. It has no pick rate. Well, if weapons have pick rates, I don't know, but like it has no pick rates, like you've seen no one use the DMR. It's just the AR. So it's like, and DMRs are supposed to be good, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if DMRs are so good, why do everyone not want to use them, or why do everyone drift away from using them? And this should really make it like simple enough. It's like, hey, DMR to DMR. So one shot is all you got to actually hit your shots. And then the AR is the AR. You have 30 to 18 bullets to hit your shots. It's like cool. But hey, if you really want to make someone actually feel hurt, you do DMR. So it's like, I don't know. But in my sense, in my world of Rainbow Six Siege, in my rifle mind, I believe not every operator is bad. You know, they're all good in their own way. But can they be a bad operator? Yes, it can be a bad operator. But you wouldn't sit here and call the operator bad completely because they're not being picked, or they're not being used, or they're bad, or your reasons and ideas of why this player is not being picked for his crack or even good. you know so I like to analyze, I like to like make it fair for everyone and every operator, that if they're being picked or not picked, they're not bad. And shit, just to say this too, on top of that, you notice how when people don't really pick operators, and let's just say that they're like a problem, they don't get banned. It's like, especially Capcan. It's like on this new rank ban system, people don't even ban Capcan as often as you think they do. They just ban Capcan because for 1 or 2 rounds he's been very annoying, and now he's banned for the past what 3 rounds. This is his first time being banned for the past 3 rounds. Then you have someone like shit Dokkaebi. Someone's gonna ban Dokkaebi off Fred based off the map. In general. Like she's unplayable for the first round, and then you have someone like, I don't know, Azami or like Valkyrie for the first round. You can have her, but I guarantee you, if you go crazy, the next round she will be banned. So it's like you have operators who get banned every 2 rounds. You have operators who get banned for the first round, and then you have operators who get banned as soon as the game starts. And I believe that doesn't prove my point, but it gives a base on where I'm coming from. It's like, bro, I could pick a bad operator and kill you with this operator and not even use their ability once. Do I think that they suck? No. Well, certain weapons like Sin's her AR, it has a bit of a recoil, but you won't consider her bad because, like I just said, I can use a bad operator, kill you with them, and not even use their ability not once. Are they bad still? Are they a bad operator to use? So it's like it goes all in the loadout. Yeah, the loadout, like the player and then the operator, it's like it goes a long way on just trying to call someone trash and bad and then be like, okay, excuse me, they're not worth my time. And then all of a sudden, bang, you dead by that same player you call trash. And they have the worst operator ever, you know? So, yeah, that's just my opinion on how I think and believe not all operators are bad. And I just thought it was a good topic to talk about because, it's me. Like I'm gonna rant about every little thing. If it's not a rant, it's just a small talk or just something. But yeah, most likely I'm going to say something. I was gonna make a video. I think I already said this. I'm gonna say it again. I was gonna make another video about how I wanted to make you guys judge my gameplay based on how I play. And if it wasn't that, I was gonna like show you guys like how I play and how if I actually wanted to play, like site wise. But I think I streamed the other day. That should be a good stream to watch. If you didn't watch the stream, it's like I think 2 hours long. It was a good stream. How I played it out, it was pretty good. But yeah. um. Okay. I think that's the end of that topic. And if you ever feel like you don't need to use an operator, don't use it. Don't have that mindset like you you feel like you should use this operator only because you feel like it's necessary. Not all the time every operator is necessary based on like how you want to view it or honestly how you think about it. Because half of the times when you use an operator that's not really going to be useful, you seem to be dead weight. And then you seem to be out of reach. You seem to be like there's nothing else you can do but just play for yourself. And it's not a bad thing to say that, but it's like if you can't contribute to the team, your best bet is to play for yourself. And if you're playing for yourself, obviously you're gonna want to not die. You're gonna want kills. You don't want to stay alive. Like you're gonna want to do these certain things that everyone else can do versus just not being useful and just like not doing anything correct or shit, not even doing anything in general, you know? So yeah, as an operator and as a player, you should be able to contribute to the team in some type of way. Even if you're, even if you have the bad operators, your best bet as a player is to hold crossfire. Like, even though your ability is bad, but you still have a weapon. Like you still have a pistol, you still have an AR, you still have nades, you still have all these things that we need in a fight. Not just your ability right now, just your gadgets, like like the common things, like you're still useful, but you wouldn't be used for a while you got this operator. So I just thought that was pretty cool to say, in my opinion, because half of the times, all the time, and every time, it seems like it's nothing you can do about it if you try to be better, for yourself. But like always, have fun and GG. Look, even though I said GG's at the end of the video, it's not over. So I want to talk about something. In the future, I'm not gonna probably post 2 times a day, and that's bad to say, that's negative aura. But I will say this, I will post once a day, and I'm gonna be posting shorts 2 times a day. So if I don't post shorts in the morning, I'm gonna be posting it when I wake up, so that'd be in the afternoon. What, in the afternoon? Yes, shut up, I have a weird schedule. But anyways, most definitely in the mornings at 4, and then in the afternoons, like 2 days. Well, 1 day, huh? Anyways, yeah. Yeah, it would be once a day. And then if I do post a siege video, it will probably be long. At most, probably like 20 minutes, maybe 27. And on a good day, 30. Never past 30. But at most, at minimum, 20 minutes, The lowest video I ever had was like 15 minutes maybe. And I might throw a montage today. I don't know. I throw a montage, whatever. But yeah, let's make sure, I guess, you comment, like, subscribe, and yeah, just honestly watch this clutch. Just watch it, it's pretty cool. Anyways, like always, have fun.
オペレーターが1人、ディフューザーが設置された。マガジンを交換。発見、無効化しろ。ディフューザーを停止させた。ミッション成功だ。